Leinster break Connacht hearts at the sports ground. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. Connacht in this one, they start pretty well. They have an early chance. They steal a Leinster line out right about halfway. They spread it to the left and Kilcannon breaks, but Scott Penny puts in a superb tackle at full stretch to force him into touch. It was very similar to, we had one that we showed when we looked at the line out stats actually, where they'd stolen the line out and scored in the left hand corner from it, and it was pretty much the same move that they used there, but Penny did really well to get back there. But Connacht, they're not done yet. Another steal in the lineup from them, and this time they do finish off. Ralston breaks on the right, inside then to Mac Hansen. He drives into 22, and then a lovely offload from him to Hawkshaw just before he goes into touch, and then Hawkshaw goes over to score. He's actually come off the bench after just a couple of minutes because Tiernan O'Halloran had to go off injured. But an absolutely brilliant score from Connacht. In terms of, teams that produce just great tries that are great to watch, highlight tries, like Connacht have to be up there with the best in the league, probably the best in Europe at being able to do that, and this was one of those as well. Conversions missed, but they're 5-0 ahead. Leinster then come on attack. Harry Byrne puts a nice little grubber through, and Caelan Blade is forced to carry it over his own line. 5-metre scrum to Leinster. Scrum gets reset a number of times, and Leinster go to pick and goes. Connacht's defence, though, holds them out, and they force a knock-on from Natai. Leinster then win another penalty as Dooley has hands beyond the ball. They decide to go to the corner. Connacht counter them all well, and then they dislodge the ball in the carry close to the line. Leinster making some unforced errors, but that really great Connacht defence is adding to that as well, forcing others and winning turnovers as well. Cal Ford, though, he gets a yellow card for a head-to-head contact and Charlie Natai in the carry. I'm honestly not sure about that one. I don't see what Ford did wrong in that one. It looked like Natai basically led with the shoulder into him. So for me, as a Leinster fan, I think at the most that should have been a penalty. Absolutely not a yellow card there. And normally I don't criticize refereeing decisions because they get enough stick anyway, but I think the referee got that one wrong. Leinster then go to the corner, but they give away a penalty for crossing as they attack the line, and they absolutely need more accuracy, but I think that kind of justice was done there because they shouldn't have gotten that chance in the first place. Connacht then forced a penalty, and Hanrahan puts them 8-0 ahead, and thinking at this stage they need a little bit more of that. They need to be just adding on the penalties and just stretching away, because Leinster, they're always dangerous if you can't get a big lead on them. They're always there. They're not going to go away. You have to keep building the score. Leinster then, as I said, they keep coming forward. They're looking to respond, but combination again of more errors from them and that pressure from the excellent Connacht defence is just keeping them scoreless. Finally, 5 minutes to go to half time, and they do actually get a score. They have a tap penalty, which they actually got because, first of all, Connacht win a scrum penalty from a 5-metre scrum, and then there's just handbags, and they give away a penalty because of it. It was just stupid, like poor discipline from them, and this is where Leinster get this tap penalty from. So totally avoidable from Connacht's point of view, but Leinster, I've seen them like a lot of times now this season where they'll set up one group of players, normally with the hooker ready to tap and a couple of forwards outside them, and then just before they take it, those guys will switch out and go to other positions, and then normally the scrum half or somebody else will come in and actually take the tap, and then they've got something set off that. So it's kind of an evolution of the variation that they had on tap penalties last year, where they're bringing a lot more movement in before they actually take the tap. I'd like them though to not always go to that, because they seem to go to that a lot, and keep the defenses guessing as well with that. But this one pays off for them. They shift it, and then Natai, he goes over, and it looks like basically their plan was to isolate Hanrahan in defence of the line and let Natai just power his way through him. That's what he did. He gets over to score. It's converted by Harry Byrne, and it's 8-7. Connacht still in the lead, but they'll definitely be kicking themselves about conceding that and just giving the chance to Leinster in the first place. They then win a penalty, and they go up the line looking for another score before the break. Again, I think they probably should have gone for the posts and just try and, keep that scoreboard ticking. And from here, then they win another penalty for not rolling. They decide to go to the corner. It's a big moment in the game. And then in true Connacht fashion, the line out malfunctions, and it looked so good up to that point. And after that, then their line out kind of struggled. Like this was basically their own problems here in the line out. And then in the second half, then Leinster, they started to put Baird up and compete in the line out and kind of work a little bit on the problems that Connacht were having and just make them a little bit worse by stealing lineouts as well. But this one was completely all of their own making. So halftime was 8-7. Connacht ahead, but probably not going in on the high that you would expect them to be. Into the second half, then Connacht make a great break through Murray and Blade, and they end up just short of the Leinster line. Leinster scramble clear, and then they decide to bring on Furlong and Healy in the front row. Really great to see Healy coming back, because I think most Leinster and Ireland fans probably thought that when he got injured in that World Cup warm-up just before the tournament, that was the end of his career, not just his Ireland career. So it's great to see him back for Leinster, and I really do hope that he gets to finish his career on his own terms now, that he can pick when his last game is going to be, and it's not going to be another injury that finally ends it for him. But from here then, Hanrahan, he goes for a 50-22. It's a bit too far in field, but Frawley misjudges it, and it comes off his shins, goes in for a Connacht line out anyway. But then Connacht, as I said, the line out isn't working for them now for some reason. Heffernan dummies it because he doesn't know what's going on. People are moving everywhere. And by the way, he was also standing on the field when he did that too. So it's a bit weird the way some hookers, well, I'm not going to say some hookers. Sometimes hookers end up standing on the field and nobody really notices until you watch the replay that the guy is clearly on the field. But it doesn't work out for them, but they're doing well kind of at this stage, kind of sticking in the game. And I wrote here, it feels strange thinking that at that point in the game, because Connacht were winning, but the thing was that again they're not scoring, and the longer that it goes on with it being like that, you just feel like Leinster are gonna click a little bit and get themselves into the lead. And just as I was thinking that, Hurley Langton, he gives away a penalty. Leinster go up the line from that. They mob to within 5 meters. Prendergast then is pinged for coming in at the side of the maul, and Foley taps and goes quickly. He's just come onto the field. Peter Dooley then gets a yellow card for not being back 10, and Leinster then go for a tap penalty. They go close twice before then Jenkins forces his way over. The score is converted and it's 14-8. Leinster now leading, and Connacht have to produce something. And, it's a little bit later in the game, but boy, did they produce something. Harry Byrne then puts in a nice crossfield kick out of his own 22, right into Russell as well on the right wing. He carries it up to halfway, chips and then regathers, and then Leinster go out to the left. Good carry from Penny up the middle, and then Culhane gets held up over the line. We had a bit of a Timo check for that, and basically referee and touch judge, or the assistant referee I think they're called now, said that they're pretty happy that it was held up, and then the TMO says there's no angle to refute that claim, so it's no try, and I think that was fair enough on that one. But Leinster, they won't go away. Natai, he puts in a grubber kick. Russell then tries to kind of kick it through and chase it himself, but actually ricochets off Matt Hansen's heel and up to Kelleher to score in the corner. Conversions missed, but 19-8. And at this stage now, it looks like Leinster are just going to ease their way to the victory. But Connacht wouldn't be Connacht if they didn't if it wasn't a roller coaster ride almost every game. So they lose another line out. Baird steals it, but then Connacht actually end up scoring, less than a minute later. So the ball ends up in Connacht's hands, and they bring it up, to the line, challenging the line. Boyle then gets his hands free to pass out of the tackle. Ford goes through the hole thanks to his good play, and then he's in behind. And as he's falling, he just pops off a lovely pass to Blade, who has the pace to get over to finish. The conversion's missed, and it's 19-5. Connacht now back within striking distance. And then they produce an absolutely brilliant score after this. Paul Boyle, he wins a turnover. Hansen then, they get it out to Hansen. He takes it up to the line and then puts Kilgannon away to score on the left. And now it's 22-19, and they're in front with just a few minutes left on the clock, and it looks like Connacht are actually going to do it. It didn't feel like it for a lot of the game, especially when Leinster got back in front. But now it looks like okay, they can probably see it out from here. But then Conor Oliver, he concedes a penalty when he dives on a loose ball. But basically, what happened was Connacht have a scrum, and the ball is out, is at the back, and Caelan Blade plays this, so therefore it's out. And then a Leinster player comes in. I think he forced a knock on, and then Boyle just comes in and dives on the loose ball, just kind of out of instinct. And Oliver dives on the loose ball just out of instinct. Leinster then kick the penalty into the 22, but then there's twists and turns all over the place here. So Barron is crooked with the throw. So then Connacht then win a penalty at the scrum, and they go up the line, but then their throw is crooked as well. So now it's a Leinster scrum, and then Leinster attack off the back of that scrum. They work it first of all over to the left wing. Barron then feels like he doesn't have the pace to go for the corner, so he carries back in field. They're about 10 metres out from the line. Then they go back to the right, and Frawley with just a great step that kind of bamboozles the defence and opens up a gap for him. He goes over to score, and that try seals the bonus point for Leinster and also seals the win, because now time is up. Harry Byrne misses the conversion, but it's 24-22, and Leinster have taken the win. That was just an amazing finish to that game, and I don't know. I still don't know how. I think Connacht on the balance of play probably deserved it, but let's have a look at some of the stats from the game. I'm hoping that the stats are up to date, because a lot of the time when I do these, they're not quite there, but this one is looking good at least. So on attack, 3 tries for Connacht and 4 for Leinster. So right there at the death, either team could have ended up with a bonus point win. And that was the great thing about this. Possession, 43% for Connacht, 57% for Leinster. Leinster, especially in the first half, lots of errors and not being able to use the possession that they had. A bit better in the second half, but still, all through the season, Leinster have just looked not as good as the team from last year, but maybe that's going to be a good thing, because Leinster looked great at the start of the season and then just kind of, didn't deliver at the end. So maybe they're going to build up a bit better this year, but they've got La Rochelle at the weekend, so they better build up a bit quicker than this. Clean breaks then 11 for Connacht, 6 for Leinster. Connacht so good at just manipulating that defence to find space against teams like Leinster that a lot of other teams find it hard to do. And when they got in behind as well, just the ability to finish. We saw it last year as well, where they had a great conversion rate on line breaks, and again this year too. Leinster, a lot of their line breaks got them in position, and then it was the recycle and just that ability to reload which got them their scores really. Defenders meeting then 20 for Connacht and 14 for Leinster. Offloads 6 for Connacht and 3 for Leinster. And Connacht, some of those offloads out of the tackle, you had Mac Hansen for who was a Hawkshaw's try, right? And then you had the one to Ford as well. It wasn't from, who was it from? I can't remember, but the one that put Ford through as well. And then for the Caelan Blade try. So Connacht, one of those teams where not every single offload is going to be setting up a break or wherever, but certainly a higher percentage of their offloads end up in breaks or tries compared to other teams. And that's a great part of their game, because I think it's all about the other players really who are almost expecting the offload to come, and because of that they're gambling and they're getting in position to receive it. And that's just a great thing to see with their attack. Onto defence then. Territory 34% for Connacht, 66 for Leinster. Just shows you how much Leinster really had in terms of just being in that Connacht half and in that Connacht 22. And a Leinster who are on the top of the game, you would expect to have had the bonus point maybe sewed up by half time, having that much territory. But again, combination of not only their errors but excellent defence from Connacht as well meant that there was no way that was going to happen in this game. Number of tackles then, 160 from Connacht, 107 from Leinster. Connacht up there in the top 3 in terms of number of tackles made in the first 6 rounds, and this game then is going to keep them in that top 3 for a while to come as well. Missed tackles then, 14 from Connacht, 20 for Leinster. So tackle percentage, 92% for Connacht is excellent against, misfiring Leinster or whatever, but Leinster in that second half, there weren't that many errors from them, but still that Connacht defence did really well. And it was really only at the end there where Frawley produced that step that their defence really got caught out in terms of, it being such a massive change or effect for them. It's 84% for Leinster, not great. Normally, Leinster, their tackling stats are a little bit down on other teams, but then the scramble is good. Connacht, though, they're so good at when they get in behind. They've plenty of pace and the ability to move the ball, especially out of the tackle, means that they kind of negate that scramble, and they did that very well against Leinster. Turnovers 1, then 5 for Connacht, 6 for Leinster. Connacht towards the end there as well, they were getting some crucial turnovers, but they just couldn't hold on to the ball themselves, and just errors from them gave Leinster that final chance. Kicking then, kicks retained, 4 from Connacht, 5 from Leinster. Very competitive in the air from both of these teams, and that's really good to see. Kicking success, ignore it. Penalties conceded then, 9 from Connacht, 11 from Leinster. So we've seen Leinster now, in a few games this season, getting up there around kind of the 9 to 12 kind of penalties conceded, which is not great really, and in the Champions Cup, they're going to have to be better. The discipline's going to have to be better. They're going to have to try to reduce that to, kind of around the kind of 6 to 8 penalties. Normally would put you in a position where you're on the right side of the referee in the game. But, for them, it's all about the win really in this one, because the performance, as I said, wasn't great. But Connacht came so close to what would have been a really well-deserved win, and probably a very memorable one too. But I think not adding points in the first half just gave Leinster that sniff of a chance to come back. But, Connacht still looked like they were going to do it right up until, basically they had that crooked throw on their last line out there that gave Leinster the platform to score the try to win. Leinster, they were poor in that first half, but they stuck in the game. Much improved in the second half, and they took the chance right at the end to win. And that's the kind of measure of this team. I think even when they're not playing well, that they can do stuff like that. They can produce a number of phases error free, and then just take the chance right at the death. I don't think it was probably a deserved win. I'm saying that as a Leinster fan. On the balance of play, I think Connacht probably deserved to win this game, but that's how it goes sometimes, right? And especially in the URC at the moment, league is so competitive that unless you take every single chance you get, you're opening the door for the opposition to take that away from you. And for Leinster, I think they're going to have to step things up now in a major way for La Rochelle next weekend.